Hi, I'm Derek Blum, and this is my final project for Stanford 2021 Code in Place. I created a Go Fish card game to replicate the popular kids game. So really this started out pretty simple, just implementing the basic rules of Go Fish. I utilized everything we learned in class pretty much, and that includes files for reading in a card deck and outputting results of games, and also using lists and dictionaries to store card data and other player game data, lots of conditional loops and more complex kinds of things, and pretty much all that we learned about. So with that said, let's kick it off here. Now it starts off, you get directions, tells you that what we're playing here, and asks who's playing, one player, two players, or I can even do a computer versus computer mode. I'll just say one human player. Asks me for my name. It wants to know what level of difficulty the computer player will be. So I'm going to play hard, and I'll explain this a little bit more later. Here's the cards that I've been dealt, and the computer Karina gets to go first, randomly selected. Asks me for some sixes. I don't have any, so Karina goes fish. Now I have a choice to make. I'm going to see if the computer player has any sevens. She doesn't, so I go fish and draw the jack. And it will go back and forth like this for the rest of the game. So let me just keep playing here, and I'll probably jump ahead in the video so you don't have to watch the entire thing. But you can see when players get matches and when they get sets of four and whatnot. There's also an in-game help menu. So there's a bunch of things I can do at any given point. I can see what my cards are. I can see what the current scores are and how many cards people have. I can even get a summary of the last several turns that have been taken. That said, let me just keep playing here, and you can rejoin me when I get to the end, near the end. Okay, so I've just finished, and you can see the final score was me 10 points, and the computer had 3, which is actually kind of surprising. The computer wins quite a bit, and I can continue to play another round if I want. Here I'll just quickly run a computer versus computer mode, and boom, it's done. You can see it had 2 players matched up, computer 1 and computer 2. And computer 1 player won that one. But so the fun part of this was actually how complicated it became very quickly, because from the basic game, I then added an in-game menu, a player versus player mode, so 2 human players can play at the same time. There's even an outer loop that lets me keep playing if I want. I can also report back out the results and put those into charts. But really the most complex part of this was that it was just really too easy to win the very first implementation I had, because there was just a random card selection by the computer. And this really led me down a path of developing really a smarter AI and trying to optimize the computer algorithm. So I went through a lot of trial and error, came up with 8 different algorithms, and finally settled on a one that was just really difficult to beat because it had a perfect memory of as though it were sitting at the table watching the game and remembered everything. And it had certain optimization strategies around card selections. And it's just really better at remembering than most humans. But strangely, some of the other algorithms are pretty effective against the computer player because they're just so consistent. And there's also a certain amount of randomness involved in the game too. So if I were going to take this to the next level, I'd make the AI even smarter, make it more adaptive to the other players so that it could learn and respond to certain other techniques that it recognizes other players are using. So ultimately, to test out the different algorithms, I even created a simulation itself. So let me jump over to that. Here's the results that show up, a couple of different charts. those would reflect all the games that were played. But if I change this computer versus computer mode to true, and I rerun the program, it's now going to prompt me how many games I want the computer to play against itself. So let me just say 200. I've run this with thousands. Okay, so it's going to run through a bunch of different matchups using different algorithms, and it's halfway done, and it'll be done in just a moment here. Okay, so ran the 200 simulations. Let's not play anymore, but here it shows all the different computer configurations, and even shows me when they're matched up against one another, how they do in different algorithms against different algorithms. So I can see the kind of win rates, and it's hard to see with all the data here, and with only 200 simulations, not terribly meaningful. But that's what it is, and so this was a lot of fun. I felt like I learned a lot from the class. I think the code in place is just totally awesome, and I'm really glad I did this. So hope you enjoyed my Go Fish game. Thank you very much.